On today's episode, we are going to do a nice market update on tech stocks. They are red today. The EV market also seems to be red today. And finally, we're also going to take a look at a recent IPO. Like always, guys, we're going to take a quick look at recent news. We're also even going to take a look at technicals. Let's start off with the main market. Right now, as I am recording, the Dow is up 0.2%. NASDAQ is pretty much flat. And we have the S&P 500 up 0.42%, so not much movement, a lot, especially in the QQQs. We saw the Qs pretty much flat. If we take a look at the overall map, a lot of green, mainly the semis are on red right now. So that's going to be the first company we are going to take a look at. Micron Technology, traded under the ticker MU, is down about 5.6%, 5.9% actually, as I am recording this episode, sitting at $79.96. This has a market cap of about $89.7 billion from its 52-week high. Let's take a quick look how much this has dropped. This has seen a bit of a pullback, right? 16%. So Micron, they just, and first, before we take a look at Micron, we saw the overall sector, tech sector, really take a hit. The jobless claims came out today. They dived to a 15 minute. Because of that, yields end up going higher. Right now, what's really happening is when yield goes up, tech stocks and growth stocks kind of see a dip down. So that's what's happening right now with the overall tech market. Another thing we are seeing, oil prices are advancing. If we take a look at the overall map, the energy market was super green this morning and is still pretty green. Main reason is oil prices output increase in August in response to a surprisingly strong demand. People are out and about right now traveling. So now let's take a quick look, jump back into Micron. First, big news about Micron Technology. Texas Instrument is going to acquire, you guys might know Texas Instrument as ticker TXN. They are going to acquire Micron Technologies, one of their facilities in Utah. And this is going to go for about $900 million. So that's reason. I don't think this is neither negative nor positive for Micron. Texas, probably pretty bullish for Texas. They are expanding. I think they have done a few acquisitions in the past few years to increase their overall facility size. So definitely good for Texas, neither bad nor good for Micron. If we take a look, they just reported earnings and the stock price is, like I mentioned, down a nice amount, down almost 6%. But why? Their earnings were actually pretty strong. They're still seeing strong demand in almost every market. Their prices for both DRAM and NAND memory chips are rising. And I am going to do a video on Micron Technology a little bit after this because it kind of shows us the overall tech market. And I want to go a little more detail in that in a later episode, which are some great things for tech investors. So definitely stay tuned for that. Make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. So for the third quarter, which ended on June 3rd, they reported $7.42 billion in revenue. That was up 36%, so still strong growth. Their earnings were actually better than what analysts expected as well. So overall, good. And they gave us a guidance for the upcoming quarter. And again, it's looking better than what analysts projected. So everything's looking good. Why is the company red? First, it does seem, we've talked about it in a bit. The Micron and the semiconductor sector seems to be a bit overextended. We see a lot of big names right now that have pulled up a nice amount. So after news, they might have been great, but not have been as perfect as some investors might have wished. So that could cause a pullback. The second thing is a lot of analysts are worrying right now that we are kind of getting at the peak levels of memory. And so right now, they believe that in the upcoming quarters, we're going to start seeing a decrease in memory prices, which overall will affect revenue for Micron. And that's what they see as the biggest risk right now. Another risk they project is right now, Micron is seeing strong demands because a lot of companies kind of did slow orders in 2020. So they're trying to pick up now in 2021. So a lot of investors are worrying that, hey, 2022 might be a bit of a slowdown again since some companies might have ordered a little too much. Regardless, we have seen some price targets. The first one is a bit negative, not too negative. Their price target is now $110 opposed to $120. Remember, the stock price is sitting around $80 right now, and they keep their buy rating, so it looks pretty good. Another one raised their target to 120 from 115, and another one raised their target to 107 from 104. There's other analysts that have come out, and pretty much the overall sentiment is buy and an increase on price targets. So Micron Technology is just, it didn't meet the expectations investors wanted, and a lot of worrisome about the upcoming quarters and the upcoming year for this company. The second company we are going to take a look at is Palantir Technologies. As I am recording this episode, the stock is down 6.19%. And this is crazy, right? It's definitely a big player right now, 46.39. Palantir has been very popular in the fintech community, in the online community of investors. If we take a look from its 52-week high, the stock has definitely seen quite a pullback, 35.24, but from its most recent bottoming, it's kind of seen about a 34.5% gain. So congratulations to any Palantir holders right now who kind of have a nice price target. So there wasn't any specific news on the company that would change the fundamentals. The only thing out right now is Palantir's technologies are trading lower after Cathie Wood and her ARK fund, and one of her ARK funds, I'm not sure if it was one or multiple, sold about $18.7 million position in the company. A lot of investors right now are following ARK and whatever they do. So when they see something like this, they get worried. At the same time, people have to remember, right, I'm not an investor in either Micron or Palantir, but investors have to remember, sometimes these are active ETFs. They might believe the price target might be too high in the short term of things, so they might sell out and they might buy back later. It doesn't give that they are negative or bearish on the stock. They might just want to use their money elsewhere. So I don't see this as a bearish reason, and I can't understand why investors would. But to every investor their own, right? So Palantir, there is some recent news that came out yesterday on June 30th. Palantir Technologies kind of extend their partnerships for 2 more years with Grupo Globo. And Grupo Globo was partnered with them to use their Foundry software platform in, I believe this is an international, yes, a Brazilian media company. So that is great news, right? You like to see partnerships extension, new partnerships being brought in. So overall, good. I don't think it really was a big game changer for the company, but it's still nice to see results like that. Next, we're going to take a look at CCIV. This is Lucid Motors, right? The SPAC that's going to merge with them. Right now, it is down about 3%, 3.19% to be exact. Right now, the current market cap of the SPAC is $7.23 billion, but remember, after the merger happens, that market cap will actually change and closer to whatever the valuation that the company translated with is going. So Lucid, again, no major news. I want to say right now it's just the overall tech market really taking a hit. The only thing I was able to find was yesterday, Lucid went on Yahoo Finance, and he kind of said that Tesla is the real competition in the EV market right now. This is just a pretty much, they believe it's a 2-horse race. At the moment, I believe it's only a 1-horse race in form of true EV markets, in form of upcoming companies, because Tesla is the only one really playing, especially here in the United States. We take a look at China, right? It's a whole different story, but we know Lucid is mainly just focused in North America right now. So in North America, the only real player strictly in this market is Tesla, right? I'm pretty sure Elon Musk is going, you haven't even sold your first vehicle, right? It's not even out there right now. So you're not even considered part of the race. This is definitely a company that will have their vehicles out soon and can see a potential competition in the EV market. But remember, we have some big players, Ford, we have, who else? I forget some of the big automaker names, but the Volkswagen, right? Those are some big companies putting money into the EV market and trying to grow there. Next, following on with the EV market, we have Nio. So Nio today, they just reported their June 20th, their June automotive delivery, and it wasn't that bad, but the stock is down 4.36%. This is what I believe is an effect of what happened yesterday. Yesterday, the stock price was up a nice amount because it seems investors were super excited of the numbers they were going to release. The numbers were actually pretty strong, right? The Nio delivered 8,083 vehicles in June 2021. growing about 116% compared to the same time last year. They delivered a total of 21,896 vehicles in the 3 months, increasing another 111.9% compared to the same time last year. So overall, strong growth numbers. They one thing is the full 3 months was about 21.9 thousand. What Nio kind of estimated 22,000 was their high-end target. They were almost there, but it seems like investors were expecting them to beat it. I don't understand why, especially since they kind of reiterated their numbers in the beginning of June. So it looked pretty. They really, like a few weeks ago, they kind of gave you the target. So I can't see why investors were expecting so much more. And right now, the stock price is down about 4.25%. Again, it can also be with the overall market, the overall tech market kind of seeing a bit of a downturn. The final stock we are going to take a look at is Krispy Kreme. This is a recent IPO. They just started trading today as ticker DNUT. That's actually pretty funny, right? It is a pretty good ticker. So the stock right now is sitting at $19.70. I do believe the IPO price was about $17. So right now the stock is already up 16% on its first day. Congratulations, I guess. I wonder how many investors this week has been pretty insane with IPOs. Let me know if anybody has entered Krispy Kreme. Right now, let's just take a quick look at the company. First, the overall valuation at $17 was about $2.7 billion. So right now it's probably closer to 3 at the moment. This is not the first time the company has gone public. It went public 21 years ago during the dot-com bubble. In 2016, so about 5 years ago, it actually went private after being bought out for $1.35 billion. So actually pretty good for whoever purchased 4 or 5 years ago. They kind of already doubled what they bought it for. That's impressive. So good business style. In the 2020, Krispy Kreme's revenue grew 17% compared to same time last year. Pretty impressive, especially since 2020 was during COVID times. So it's impressive to see that growth. They are not profitable right now. They did report $60.9 million in loss. And for the last 3 fiscal years, it has reported that net loss, mainly because it's really focusing on expanding its consumer base. So here in New Jersey, right, I'm seeing more Krispy Kreme donuts opening up. They're also buying back more of its franchise locations. At the moment, about 85% of their locations are company owned. So those are the 5 companies we have seen today. Now let's take a quick look at technicals for all of them. Micron Technology, we can see after price drip, definitely not overextended at all. If I was an investor, these levels don't seem too bad. A good portion of the risk has been eliminated. At the same time, stocks can continue to go down, but this like mid $76, $77 seems to be a good resistance level or support level for the company. If we take a look at Palantir, it did seem like it was overextended. It had amazing weeks just going up and up with this overall rotation back into growth stocks. It seems like it's cooling down a bit right now. It's going back to its moving averages, something you like to see. If we take a look at CCIV, I believe this one is still a bit overextended. You can see it might have a higher risk of more pull downs. And finally, we have Nio. Nio, we can see yesterday it was heavily overextended. One of the risks I did mention was a possibility of a pull down after numbers, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Still, I do believe there's still a higher risk. It doesn't mean it's gonna happen, right? I just believe the chances of it continuing to pull down is a little bit higher. So that's it for today's episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it, and in a few hours, I should be releasing a video on Micron Technology. You do not want to miss it, especially if you are a tech investor.